Hey, it's Sekaar, and today I'm going to be going over the top 5 things I wish I knew before starting PvP and ESO. This list is for brand new players who are looking for some good places to start when it comes to learning how PvP works. PvP can be overwhelming at first, but if you break down the basics, it's mostly about time you put in order to properly learn, rather than a lot of other factors. So, let's get started. Number one, the very first thing I want you guys to learn about PvP is the sets that you want to use as far as your gear goes. In this game, you get bonuses for wearing gear sets that will help your stats with your character. Some of the sets will help you with damage, some with recovery, resistances, and so on. The most basic gear sets are 5-piece sets, which grant you bonuses for wearing 5 separate pieces of gear from the same set. Take this set for example, Shacklebreaker. It will give you an extra 129 stamina recovery for wearing 2 pieces of it, 129 magic recovery for wearing 3 pieces, 129 weapon and spell damage for wearing 4 pieces, and finally, an extra 2065 max magic and max stamina. So if you wear 5 pieces of Shacklebreaker, you'll get all of the extra bonuses I just mentioned for your character. There are multiple different ways to acquire gear sets in this game. They can either be crafted, farmed in specific zones through dolmens, delve bosses, treasure chest drops, and so on. The easiest way to set up your character is to use 2 separate 5-piece sets and 1 monster set, which is your 2-piece head and shoulders, in order to fill out all 12 spots in your character. Please make sure you do your research on these sets too. There are a lot of websites that go over all the sets in the game, and it's a great place to start for finding what sets work for you and what you want to do in this game. The second thing I want you guys to learn about, which is just as important as your gear sets, are your skills on both of your bars. They're going to have a huge impact on your capabilities in PvP. Skills mostly come down to 3 things. Either a skill does damage, will heal you or an ally, or give you a buff of some sort, like increasing your resistances or increasing your weapon or spell damage, etc. Obviously there are different ones, but those are just the 3 most basic ways. It's healthy to keep a nice mix of damage abilities, heals, and usually 1 armor buff on your character at all times. In my opinion, the most important skill to have on your skill bar at all times is your armor resistance buff. This is going to be a different skill depending on which class you're running. For example, for Templar, it's going to be your rune. For Dragonite, it's going to be your volatile armor. For Warden, it's going to be Frost Cloak. And make sure you keep that resistance bonus up at all times in order to be as tanky as possible so you can survive in a fight for as long as possible. Besides that though, I also like to keep about 2 or 3 heals on my build at all times too. I usually try to keep up heal over time at all times. Something like if you're a stamina build, using something like Resolving Vigor, it gives you heals over 4 seconds, which lets you stay alive in a fight and lets you keep pressure up. Or Rapid Regen if you're a Magicka build. It's basically the exact same thing almost. It's nice to have a burst heal for those oh no moments though, but keeping your heal over time up mid-fight is what's going to allow you to keep your pressure on your opponents while also keeping your health up. And finally, the damage abilities are up to you depending on how you want to combo your abilities. If you're going for a melee character, then try and keep all of your abilities to be close range for the most part, and the opposite goes for the reverse situation if you want to be a ranged character. Number 3. Another very simple but effective way you can help survive as long as possible is knowing which potion to use. Potions help with a quick burst heal, as well as your recovery for the next 30 to 45 seconds after you use one usually. They are vital to stay alive, and knowing which type of potion to use in a certain situation could be the difference between surviving or dying. 2 of the main potions that I've used over the past few years are Tri Potions or Immovability Potions. Both of them are the go-tos that I always get when I go into PvP. Tri Potions will help your overall sustain and are in my opinion best in slot for almost all Magicka characters. It gives you magic, health, and stamina back, as well as giving you recovery for all 3. Tripods in my opinion are the epitome of sustain potions. The other type that I've used a lot are movability potions. Using this will prevent you from getting hard CC'd for a certain amount of time after popping it. Note, this does not prevent roots or snares, it's just a hard CC that it prevents. It is insanely useful if you absolutely need to get a combo off on time or not. This works especially well for bombers or just hitting a stack of players or just making sure that you need to get away from a situation. There are a lot of other types of potions out there that will help you for various situations in PvP, but those are just the 2 most useful ones that I've found over the years. There are definitely a lot of other ones that can help you, but these are just the 2 best ones in my opinion. Number 4. Another way to get better and understand how to navigate PvP and understand situations is playing multiple classes and understanding how the skills on each class works. It's easier to master one class and become familiar with the skills associated with that class, but learning what the other 5 classes in the game can do and how to counter each one is crucial in many situations. There are 6 different classes in the game, and if you take each one in a Magicka and Stamina side, there are basically 12 separate playstyles. You don't need to master them all, just give them a little bit of time to each class in order to be able to learn how each one works in their own respective ways, and in order to counter each one. For example, a Nightblade seems very powerful since it can cloak away and do a lot of burst damage, but if you understand how to counter the cloak mechanic, you can put intense pressure on the Nightblade and win a fight easily. Being able to understand the ins and outs of every class helps you be able to react to situations in real time and will help you survive in a fight a lot longer. Finally, my last tip is something that you would actively need to work on when in PvP, and that is situational awareness. Learning when to be aggressive or defensive is key in PvP and will help you win a lot more fights. Reading a fight and surveying how many enemies there are compared to you is key. Fighting in an open field against multiple enemies is not usually a good idea, so use line of sight in order to divide and conquer your enemies. Use resource towers, rocks, or other geographical locations in order to limit your damage taken from enemies. As well as learning line of sight, after your enemy uses their ultimate ability, they're usually at their most vulnerable. If you can find an opportunity to go offensive then, that is usually your best shot to take them down. Don't go completely offensive though and lose track of your buffs. That's the best way to run out of resources and lose a fight. And that's it. I hope you guys enjoyed the video. It was my first time making a tips and tricks video, so if you enjoyed it, please let me know in the comments below. As a dedicated PvPer, I would like to be able to help the people who haven't experienced it as much, so if there's anything that you would like tips on when it comes to PvP specifically, please ask in the comments below. Don't forget to subscribe to the channel for all the latest videos, and you can catch me live doing all types of PvP content at twitch.tv/Sekaar. Thanks again for watching, and I will see you all next time. Later.